Welcome back to City Culture. I'm Sarah.
And I'm Raven, and we are so excited about our guest today.
Our first guest of episode 2, season 2.
Do you want to introduce your guest first, and I'll introduce mine?
I do. So the episode's name is Mom and Dad. So today you're meeting Mom and Dad of the City of Ocean Springs. Guest Patty Gaston is our city clerk, and she's Mama, and she's CFO. What are all your titles, Patty?
I'm not sure I could say them all on here. All the things that I go by.
So you office in City Hall. You are the manager of all the ladies and all the employees at City Hall, as well as dealing with the Board of Aldermen. It's a huge job. She is truly Mama.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Well, thanks for being here, Patty. You want to tell us a little bit about yourself? Like, where'd you come from? You're not from Ocean Springs.
Not from Ocean Springs. I've been on the coast 25 years. I've been with Ocean Springs for 22 years, and I've been worked for a city there, City of Stuttgart in Arkansas, and I worked there for 16 years, was the assistant finance officer. So I'm going on 38 years in government.
As a public servant.
As a public servant.
How's that feel?
It's been great, actually. I love working for the public.
Yeah. You're great at it.
I love working for the public. I love helping the public when I can. I loved working Katrina. It was the biggest honor in my life to actually be able to help people in the time when they really needed it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Well, I like working for the public. It's a little challenging sometimes, but in general, I like it. Yeah.
Well, good.
Well, before we go too deep into anything, we want to also introduce our next guest, who was our first guest of episode 2, season 1 last year, our Mayor Kenny Holloway. Kenny, welcome back.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
We brought you some backup this time.
Patty's always my backup.
Yes, for sure.
The public needs to see this dynamic. It is not just all done by one person. All the decisions are not made by one person. And it's not even just you two. It's a whole board of aldermen and department heads who put together all the info before it's even released to you guys. And it's a constant phase of progress, and you guys are the ones who kind of finalize and decide, but it just doesn't happen as quickly as what you would think.
24 hours a day. Mm-hmm. Cities run 24 hours a day.
So Kenny, in the last year, how have things progressed for you as mayor? What have you learned? How are you feeling?
I think things are progressing well. We've been juggling a lot of balls. When I was first elected, we had several topics that we wanted to address, and we kicked them off pretty much simultaneously, and now they're all coming to a head simultaneously. And it's kind of hectic around City Hall right now. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of things going on, and very busy, very, very busy.
I think there's a lot that is being created and developed through our community, through different organizations that are working for the City of Ocean Springs, or working, to whatever genre they're in, whether it's environmental, creative, tourism, whatever. And then you guys, we have a team now that is, we all have different skill sets, and we're all focusing on things that we're bringing our skill sets to the table at our positions. Like Ravin and I, we have other jobs as well that are outside of this position. Ravin does events, and I build furniture and make art, and Kenny, you have your businesses, and Patty, you do people's taxes and all kinds of different side jobs. We all have our things that we bring to the table, but nothing can be decided alone, right?
Right.
But that's a positive thing. That's a positive thing, that we're all looking at the different aspects of how to make Ocean Springs greater. Ocean Springs could be that.
It's like an orchestra.
Yeah, it very much is. So with all of that, it's challenging, right? So let's just break the ice. Let's just loosen up, everybody. You don't have to be so tight right now. This is the time to just talk about that experience. I mean, you're human. You're professionals. You're doing the best that you can with the team that you have. Let's talk about that. What has that experience been like?
Well, we've got a great team in City Hall. We really do, and it's a good dynamic. we get together as y'all are there, once a week, and we talk about activities, present, past, and future, and what we're dealing with, and I think that's something I promised to do, and we've been doing it ever since I was elected, and I think it's good. It's good that we can communicate. It's good that we get things talked about, accomplished, and I think the most important thing about it is it's a team building activity,
Absolutely.
and we've become a team and pretty much like a family at City Hall.
It is a family.
It
City Hall,
truly is.
it is a family environment, and all the departments, they all
That's why
know
you're
their
mom and I'm
module.
dad.
Right. And really, they all come to the table, and then we just talk it all out, and the department head meetings are invaluable to what they bring together. And then the mayor works more with the board, and then I work with the board a little more than some of I think the other departments do, but I do a lot on the finance, on where we're headed. And then you're correct, the city has a lot of partners, especially in athletics, just like over here, you have partners at the Mary C. Even the parades, those are partners to the city, because they help us put these events on.
Exactly. And it's really great when you have all of this activity, and these ideas, but then to maintain is where the job comes into place, and it really does start to feel like a job.
Right.
So maintaining, there's challenges in that. And I think that what I've seen over the last year is a lot of communication, a lot of problem solving, a lot of different creative ideas that are not just verbal but visual and interactive and in person, for anything that comes our way to be handled in the best way possible. But that still doesn't seem to satisfy the public. So let's talk about that for a second. How do we deal with the public and it stay kind and it stay professional from all ends? Because that's what we want ultimately, right?
Sure.
And I think that that's heavy right now. It's the reality of like what is happening right now, and it's not a bad thing to bring it up and talk about if it's with good intention and we're trying to like find a resolution for it.
So what I think is, the public, sometimes they want to know things before we can introduce it out. We're just starting to come up with a project. We're trying to come up with the funding.
Just the communication point, when we're talking about a vision, a new idea, it's still new and it is ever evolving until it's really written on paper, it's voted on. And so we have this conversation all the time about what information to release that will satisfy the public and not get them confused.
And it's not even just satisfy the public. There's a certain amount that has to be exposed, and sometimes it's just draft one. It's just what we've got so far.
It's a
draft
thought.
one.
It's a thought, and then they'll want to see it. And then if we introduce something, they think that means it's going to happen.
Right.
And so it's almost like running your home or anything else. It has to be more to a further along point, really, than before we can include them. But the right attitude from the board and the mayor and the city employees is to do what we can, to do the best job we can for the public. And it's like I tell people all the time, there's my opinion and your opinion, and it doesn't make either one of them necessarily the opinion.
Right.
And the city's the same way. We try to do the best we can. Our intentions are always to do the best we can. Sometimes we make mistakes because we're human.
Right.
And it's no secret, we're going through an annexation right now, and after that's completed, we'll be at 20,000 people, maybe a little north of 20,000 people.
Right.
You've got to look at the big picture. Believe that you're doing something positive, and we all have that, resolve that we want to do something positive. No one gets in public service to do something negative.
Right.
You don't ever want to leave that legacy. You want to, and I've said this, and y'all have heard it before. We are planning things that are going to, in 25 years or so, people need to look back and say that group of individuals, that administration, that board, they made some tough decisions, but they made the right decisions. And Ocean Springs is better off for it.
But before we get off this very touchy subject, I just want to be clear that we like for the public to engage to what we have going on. It's feedback,
Right.
I think where we get in the ditch or whatever is the way that the feedback comes to us, whether it's on social media or it's just, there should always be a level of respect and engagement. You can't have, you know, healthy conversation, you know, it's a healthy conversation, constructive, and sometimes the tone, there's a disconnect somewhere.
Well, when there's an attack versus, progressive criticism, then it's just a totally different conversation at that point where, like if it's not professional, it's not going to be had on social media. It needs to be face to face.
The public tends to think Ward 2, Ward 3, and the thing about it is there are representatives of each ward, but it doesn't mean that everything we're doing doesn't affect the whole city. It does. Right. And so, they'll be like, well, I don't want and I'm like, well, you have to understand, as the city, it's like the parents. You're correct. The city has to look at it as what is the good for the 20,000? What does not just this ward want? Because the cost of what this ward might want will affect all the citizens that pay taxes. And so we always have to look at things from up here. We can't look at it that this is just what this neighborhood wants. And we do have a group here, and we made a lot of changes, and they're good, but it's hard for them because it's going quick. Things are changing quick, and they want to see exactly Ocean Springs the way it was, but Ocean Springs is such a wonderful city that it's going to continue to grow because,
more
as
people
Raven
are
says,
moving
it's
here.
the place to be.
It sure is.
See,
And
Raven,
everyone
you
wants
did
to
this.
be here.
You're bragging so much.
And everyone wants to be
Patty's
here.
exactly right. People want to be in Ocean Springs. They want to invest in Ocean Springs. They want to live in Ocean Springs. And we could just sit back and let it happen, nilly-willy, whatever, however it comes together, haphazardly maybe, or we can try to guide it and direct it to where we need it to be.
And also to the level that you can. At some point, it hands off to the developers. Like, this is only a bigger concept being agreed upon. And then
I don't think anybody can complain about the development that's gone on in our city in the past few years. I mean, there's been some great projects. I mean, really great projects, and they fit. And they have, we're talking about taking properties that were, in disrepair, a lot of them, and bringing them back to life. And people are spending a bunch of money doing that too. So you just look at what's coming out of the ground and what is being replaced. I mean, it's first class. It really is. And I travel, I'm in Jackson quite a bit right now, and talking to different mayors and representatives and senators, and everybody just loves Ocean Springs. They say, you've got probably the best city in the state of Mississippi.
you really do. I mean, I've been here 8 years, and I can't believe how downtown has just activated, and I think you're handling it very well, and I really do want to commend you for continuing in your vision and also like allowing that vision to be, your boards and your teams. It's just not easy. My mom always says, well, what do people want? This place, she's from Oklahoma, Mississippi, and she watched it be this great town when she was a kid. She grew up there. It was alive. Her mom had multiple businesses downtown, and it's completely dead now. So if we don't do what we're doing and help guide it, I mean, what would Ocean Springs turn into?
I've always said when you're walking and whatever, and we don't get out, we ain't getting out to exercise a lot, but when we do, I've always said, if you didn't live here and you were just, walking, you'd always say, man, I wish I lived here.
I remember when I first moved here and I was a tourist essentially. I didn't know anybody. It felt like mine. The beach felt like it was mine. All the interactions I had with different store owners felt like my own interaction. Well, come to find out, everyone feels that way because our community is so tight knit, Everybody just wants the best for every piece of it as it's evolving.
And really, the city's vision and the public's is not that far off.
It's not.
Our vision, too, is to keep everything natural. You don't see us trying to bring in entertainment like go-karts and things that Biloxi and all has. What we try to bring in is bicycle riding. We
And
really
walking
are
trails.
And we really want to keep it as natural also, but we also have to have the mayor and them, what they're coming up with some great projects that will help us to build the things that the public wants here and not have to raise taxes. We have to figure out where's the money coming from. And sometimes this is a town that needs to get it off the tourism. What a great school district. I mean, and all the teams and the theater, it's just exciting.
It is.
Oh my gosh, yes, the theater's
Every time you
taking
turn
off.
around, they're number one. They're number one. So it's,
Yeah. So yeah, we're
see the
very
value.
fortunate.
yeah.
And along the lines of what Patty's talking about, Ocean Springs has always been historically a tourist town. The hotels, the springs, so people have always come here. It's positive and it's negative that our city is primarily funded through sales tax. That's risky. It's risky. But the other funding source would be ad valorem taxes. But it's good for the residents that we can fund a lot of these projects through sales tax and not have to increase the ad valorem taxes. So it's just tough. But the risky part of it is, in a disaster, and it shuts the city down, from sales tax revenue, that's scary. So there's got to be some type of balance going forward. And so when these new properties come online, the property values are higher, and they're helping with that. But the ad valorem is a big deal, and I think if you look across the state, or definitely on the coast, we've done the surveys. Our ad valorem is as low as anybody's in the state of Mississippi.
Right. So one of our downtown business owners was telling me, Kenny Williams, was that Ocean Springs kind of leads the rest of the communities, not only on the coast and the state, about all the things that we're doing, whether it's in arts and development and growth. What would either of you like to see? We know we have projects on the books, but how do you see Ocean Springs growing, and what is the vision there?
Well, geographically, it's growing to the north and the east. The population is growing to the south. What people don't realize is that people say they live in the city of Ocean Springs, but about half of those folks don't.
Right.
The school district is a prime example. About 50-50. The students live inside the city limits, live outside the city limits. So, with our planners the other day, we're talking about Parks and Rec. 56% of the people that use our parks and recreation facilities live outside the city limits of Ocean Springs. Right. So, it's the city's going to grow. We've this annexation. We've got a lot of geography that we're capturing. There's going to be some infill there. But the downtown area is it's tapped out basically for growth, and and our census said the city has only grown by 2% or 3%. Well, there's nowhere to grow. We're at capacity. We had 11% of our allowable 11% vacant land for growth in Ocean Springs. Most cities, when they get to 35-40% of that land, they're looking at annexation.
Okay.
So that's, we haven't annexed in what?
1993. I was pretty shocked about that.
We were 3.
So
I was very shocked at that.
yeah.
Yes.
So I mean, that's unprecedented.
Right.
That we've set that long without growing, and I travel around, and you can ride through almost every city or town in the state of Mississippi or outside of the state, and you're going to see boarded up windows. You can see vacant shops.
Right.
And that's because they're not trying to continue to grow and grow the right way. We are very fortunate. We don't have any boarded up windows and shops around here. We've got a couple of vase.
We see pride from downtown and the store owners. And when I first came to work for the city, downtown wasn't near the stores themselves even. You just didn't see people on the sidewalks. And now, downtown, I mean, it's the place to be for the shopping, the stores. We have great stores. and people want to come here. They're bringing them in here from buses now. They're busing them in here to shop, and we have great restaurants. We have greenery. We've been working on getting the flowers back up and going. Mayor has done a great job. The lights at Christmas.
Right.
Everyone loved the lights at Christmas.
So we were just talking about how great downtown is doing and how amazing all the different stores and restaurants are. And I think like what's behind that is like award-winning chefs, the people who are running these stores. They're not just putting retail in. Like for instance, Hillier House, Paige Reed Riley. She has taken that store and essentially made it into an art gallery that you can buy items that are affordable. If you go in there and you see the sculpture of the blown glass behind her register, you just don't see that in normal stores that you walk into. It's just that extra element that everyone puts. Our wonderful little tea store that just won best little business or whatever downtown from the Chamber of Ocean Springs. I don't know if y'all have been in there, but it's kind of incredible. It kind of looks like walking into something from Harry Potter, you know?
Well, the soap store, which is, the soap store here, which the soaps go into the Academy Award bags and stuff. I don't know if y'all are aware of that, but that's cool. Yeah, it's.
Well, I think it just continues that idea of what you were saying, Patty, with the pride that we have. Everyone feels that in their store, in their property, or their area of Ocean Springs, and we do have more people wanting to come and develop here. So annexation is kind of, it's necessary to give that opportunity to those who want that as well, just like everybody else, basically.
Well, they want to live here. And so hopefully the annexation will produce some lots to where more people can live here. Because everybody wants to live here and they want to be in the school district.
Right.
And we need affordable housing too.
And we need affordable housing.
And that's what that is going to provide.
Right.
Not everybody can live downtown. It's just not feasible. There's no space, so it's going to give us an opportunity to
Right.
have some affordable housing.
And the planner and them actually said, because we haven't annexed since 93, it's affected affordable housing.
Oh, no question.
Right.
They said that has been a negative. And so, that'll be a positive, but just in general, I mean, there's just really hardly anything that's negative about Ocean Springs, except us all trying to come together and respect each other and realize that no one's ideal means it is the ideal, but the
Which
city,
needs an idea. That's Patty talk.
but the city,
She's from Arkansas.
the city, but the public officials, you vote them in, and that is their job and they do a great job of it, and it's always been that way. I've not always agreed over the years with everything that happened by boards, but I have never seen a board with Ocean Springs that wasn't always thinking or trying to do what they thought was best for the whole city. Yeah, we just don't get to decide my ward, this ward, blah, blah, blah. We have to look out because all the taxes and stuff that are collected affect the whole city.
So what would you say, we get this comment sometimes that the city primarily focuses on downtown.
Okay.
How would you respond to that kind of
It's the crown.
comments?
It's the crown. The public, the buses that come in here to go shopping and eat, they don't go out to Ward 5 and 6 where the homes are. So we have to make sure that the beach area and what we call the tourist area, which I call Front Beach and downtown, that's what people come in here for.
Right.
And we've worked on the tower coming into town, trying to make sure it's beautiful. And we're going to continue to beautify the city, and they're going to continue to come. And that's going to make our sales tax continue to be there, and it's going to keep the taxes lower while we're trying to build more parks and more pickleball courts. And we're trying to give the public what they really want. And we want recreation also. And we want it to be natural recreation. We're not trying to commercialize the city. We're trying not to.
Yeah, what people, and these tourists, they fund a lot of this stuff for
Absolutely.
us because we have a 2% food, beverage, and lodging tax,
Right.
and and that can only be spent for public work. For public safety, parks and rec, and tourism. So it's that's what buys police cars. It's what buys fire trucks. It's what builds parks.
How much does a fire truck cost?
There's 2 that's coming in. We're going to buy 2. They'll be here, I think, the end of March, and it's about Right at 1.2 million for 2 of them. We're very excited because I don't know if it's a secret that one's going to be
It's not a secret.
one's going to be Greyhound colors.
That would be so nice
We're
for all the
So
parades and
excited,
everything.
all the
Yeah.
parades, all the events that the fire trucks
And
come
putting
to.
out fires and stuff too.
Right. Yeah.
Would they bring the Greyhound truck to put out a fire? I guess if it's necessary.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's what it's for.
For 600,000, we're going to hope it can still put out fires.
And we just bought 5 new police cars, right?
Yeah.
And then and then
And all
when,
that's-
once the annexation is in place, we'll be buying 3 more. And 3 police cars is $180,000.
Do we have enough police to put him in there?
We have built back. Yeah, our police force is looking good. We won't hire until annexation's closer to foot it. We won't be footing the bill until
Till it's necessary.
until it's ready.
Right.
That's correct.
So tell us a day in the life as city clerk and mayor. Like when you first get up.
Yeah. I
you
definitely
check it-
wanted to shift gears like this. Good job.
You check your phone.
Sometimes I call the mayor and or
About what
text him.
time?
Yeah, what times?
I probably don't text him before 6.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Before 6.
Sometimes in my day, I have gotten up at 4 because I do my best work at my home. Because once I'm at City Hall, there's a lot of distractions, a lot of people that need me. And so, and I love doing the accounting. And so I'll get up sometimes at 4 or 5 and be sending emails out.
That's her yoga
That's why my
stretching.
phone doesn't ding ding.
And I would suggest you all keep them turned off because as I'm, on the weekend, I may send 20, 30 emails.
Right.
Because as it's happening, I've got to get them sent. So I tell everybody, don't open this. Because I know everybody's not married to the city quite like I am.
There's a button you can push where you can set it to schedule to send to them on Monday morning.
I'm too old for all that.
It's easier for them to type, do not open.
Yeah, at my age, I'm not going to get that electronic. Everybody's just going to have to ignore me.
So y'all usually powwow about what time?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, we probably talk every
6:30
weekend.
to
Yeah.
7:30, probably almost every day.
Yeah, I would say it's very odd that I don't speak to Kenny every day. And sometimes the alderman too, if something's going on or whatever. Kevin Wade, he works, so a lot of times his calls will come about 9 at night.
Right.
Yeah. So, and the public has my number. I've never not give the number to anybody. They might not like what I say always. But
Saying no is not easy.
But yeah, and but my heart's always in the right place. It doesn't always come out that way. It may not look that way, but
It definitely is. If anyone knows you, they know that about you. And I think, Patty, you're a huge role model to all the women in City Hall and over here as well at the Mary C. And I think when I stepped into this position 3 years ago, I watched the way you came over to Human Resources and helped Mindy just to hire me to make sure I was a good fit for this job. I've watched you do that many, many times since then with other employees who are now hired with the city. I've watched you become an investigator and investigate things that no one's putting the time into and find really important details out that completely change the situation, whatever that project was. I've watched you.
Years.
Yeah, I've watched you, see a department and the weakness in that department and staff, and leave your desk and go into that department and say, okay, let's look at your system. Let's see how your process is going. Let's see how your time is being used. You've brought me in to just have conversations about, because I've never had a staff before. To understand their schedule versus my schedule and how to create those boundaries with them. And, it is a lot of detail that makes things run smoothly. And coming from private sector, I came in and I knew what I was doing and I knew what I wanted to do and I knew how to get it done. But then this wall would come up and this red flag would come up and this person decided they didn't like me. And then, these random things would happen and I'd be like, this is getting in the way of the project. And then you're like, Sarah, calm down. This is the way government works.
Yeah.
It's like, it's slower. It's not just what you want. It's what all of these people can do after it's agreed on what the goal is. But the way you did it, the way you've always dealt with people, and my personal experience with you has just been thoughtful and detailed, and it's to everybody's goals and incentives, not just yours or just the mayor's. Like I've watched you be his biggest like fan and you're his person, but I've also seen you take up for others to him, to everyone's face, and there's just so much respect in that.
Well, and it's not just because of Kenny, it's because it's the position.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you're going to work in government, then it's up to you to always be whoever comes in, and Kenny can tell you whether it was Kenny, Shay, Connie, Sarah, and Ainsworth, that is who your loyalty to. Whoever the people put in is who we work for. And I go right in and let them know, whether, I usually tell them how I vote, which Mindy says you shouldn't, but I normally do. And I tend to always vote for the people I have worked with just because I know their strengths. Where the public sometimes don't know the good and the bad, I'm lucky enough I do.
Right.
And so I have a loyalty, you're correct. And that's been something I've had to do all my life. I've seen people that were doing a great job be put out in election and have to stand in front of the mirror and tell myself, now you get in there and you do your job, and your job is to support this person, and that because that's who the people put in.
Right.
And I'm trying to teach that down to City Hall. That's some of what I try to teach everybody is the upper parts of how to run the city, and you can't get into, I don't like that person. That doesn't feed into it. Right. I try to help everybody, all the citizens, and that's what I tell them. It doesn't matter to me who knows who. You're all the same to me.
It's been really interesting to me to watch you give time to certain things that I felt like, you put your pride to the side to give that time. I've watched you answer the phone and someone just scream at you about something that you're just trying to even understand what it is so you can help them. Right. And the way you've responded is so calm. It just shows us how to deal in really stressful.
I think this just should remind people the different levels to manage a city. So, the mayor's out riding around looking at people's ditches and potholes.
Sometimes I go out with him. You'll see us out together looking at everything, trying to make sure, because we have a lot of great city employees and they all love working for the public. It doesn't mean that we don't have to raise the expectations sometimes and remind everybody that these are jobs.
Right.
Now, when the public comes in and plays the "you work for me," that doesn't go real well with us.
Yeah.
Because we do work for you and we're going to do the best job. It doesn't mean one person gets to come in and tell us how to do it.
Right.
Again, it's the overall, and as long as that's our goal, then we're meeting our goal.
Right.
Well, I think that goes back to y'all's powwow at 6:30 in the morning when the rest of us might be still sleeping, about how you're going to manage the day.
Right.
What issues
What's going
are
on
coming up
today? What can we do to
Right.
to make this better?
And you can see the teamwork there for sure.
And then Kenny, the way you handle things is so interesting. It must just be the difference between a female and a male. But it's not that you're not emotionless. You have emotion. You have things you're super passionate about. But you're calm. You stay calm. You have a lot of things that hit you, which it's the position. I know what that means. It's, I know that I get stuff just because of the position I'm in, and I don't take it personally. And you have a really great skill you have a really great way of doing that and continuing to work towards the goals and not push it to the side because it's like got a bad, it's just got a bad aura over it and you don't want to deal with it right now. You just continue to trudge through, and I think that's just super respectful.
Well, we've got, like I said, we've got a lot going on. There's a lot of emotion going on.
Yeah, but you got a good poker face about it,
and,
Right.
but you can't, you've got to realize that, if you say something, everybody's hanging on your words.
They are.
You can't say something out of emotion.
Right.
And then
And
have to
promise them the
backtrack.
world.
That's right. And try to backtrack on it because you made a promise or
Well,
you said something that, maybe you
sometimes
should have
people
just
think,
not.
Sometimes people think we made a promise and we really didn't. They heard what they wanted to hear.
Right.
That's
It
true.
doesn't mean that we really did, and we have a lot going on. He's got a lot going on. We can't remember I can't sometimes with the staff, and this happens with all the staff I work with, they'll be like, I'll say, well, let's do it this way. And they'll say, well, the other day you said, let's do it this way. And I said, oh.
Well, it didn't work. Let's do it this way.
Well, there
I mean,
is.
there's so much going on.
There's a lot of interaction between a lot of folks when you're
There is.
a city clerk or mayor. I mean, there's a lot going on, and you know, it's tough. You gotta have that water roll off your back.
You have thick
because
skin.
thick skin, yeah.
I'm learning
You really
it.
do.
And if we're not calm, how will everybody else be calm?
Right.
It's
Right.
like the stewardess on the plane.
Oh, we're not calm on the phone sometimes. I can tell you that.
It's like I
Do
tell
it all out in the morning.
Raven and I will walk into the office and be like, oh, never mind. We can just feel it. You know?
There's no question Susan knows
human.
I'm talking to Patty in the
Right. we're human. One thing Kenny did when he came on, it's been one of the things that's been great. I've been pretty lucky with this is he had a respect that he had people here that he gave us a chance to show him that we did know our jobs, which empowered him. And he never, if I say, Kenny, let's talk about that, he never dismisses that.
Yeah, he
He
really
never
doesn't.
dismisses that.
I don't mind
He
constructive
always does it.
criticism.
Right.
I really don't.
Right.
And y'all know that because
Right.
we've
Yeah.
all talked.
Right.
And I welcome it, you know.
And I've been lucky with that. I've been lucky that the mayors have allowed me to help try to tell them, hey, this isn't going to fly. Let's don't do this. They won't understand. But our hearts are truly always in the right place. We truly do have the right of all 20,000 people. What can we do to make this the best city at the lowest cost?
Right.
And sometimes people think that, they accuse us, but it's just not true.
Yeah, we didn't get in this job to fail.
So I just want to touch really quick on yours and Kenny's relationship because Raven,
What?
yeah, you're 33. You're my age. We're 33.
I'm younger than
I'm not gonna. Okay, wait. You are 6 weeks younger than me. You are 33. Okay. Anyways, and Kenny, I won't tell your age, but you're older, And so working. You guys have a great dynamic, and I've loved watching the way, you listen to Raven, you produce for Kenny, and listen to Kenny. Y'all just have a really great dynamic that I think is kind of part of this evolution of how the younger and the older groups are starting to work together, and how that, I don't know. It's just I think that it's been hard. Coming in for me I was 30 when I got my job, and I was definitely the youngest one sitting at the department head table and trying to get a word in or be heard, and I'm already just, me, and it's a lot. And so I just think that you guys have a dynamic that has worked not only for the job, but for the public, and the way you're able to communicate for him in your position in so many ways through social media and the website work you've done. It's amazing.
Well, the mayor was lucky that he had a good assistant, but she really was more used to private industry. And so she decided to leave, and I did call and let Raven know it was open, and then I stayed out of it.
Mm-hmm.
I told Kenny, I said, Raven was here. She was here with Connie, so she's already kind of knows what should be going on. She'll be able to walk in the door. We've had some, and so he did the interviewing and all, and it's been really great because Raven had previous experience.
Yeah.
And so she was able to help also guide.
Right. Well, I've got my oldest daughter is y'all's age. So, and I've watched her grow up and develop into a young woman and have a child. And so, I understand her knowledge. Mm-hmm. So it was easy for me to understand Raven's knowledge. Mm-hmm. And we talk a lot about stuff. Mm-hmm. I mean, we really do. And, we have a good, easy, relaxing conversation.
I've never seen y'all fight before.
We don't fight.
We don't fight.
It's amazing.
I think Kenny and I we're similar in so many ways, and so like if we're at a function, I know when Kenny's ready to go. I'm ready to go too. But I think that helps. Our demeanors are similar. Mm-hmm. Like I try to stay calm and cool. Unless you know me, you hardly ever know if I'm upset. I think that kind of dynamic helps, especially in the mayor's office where it's being hit all the time.
I'm so jealous of how y'all have your poker faces. It's like if I'm upset or lying or something, I just turn
And
splotchy.
and it bothers Raven that people will get on social media and start hammering me, and
It does
It
bother
bothers all of
It
us.
bothers all of
bothers,
us.
it bothers.
Absolutely, because we know where your heart is,
Right.
and we don't like it. And and then we have to rear ourselves back in and remember that they don't be privy to knowing you like we know you. They don't always be privy, and so I have to tell myself, now step down, because yes, I'm very much the protector for the mayor and the board, and I don't like it when people are not respectful to the board.
Right.
It's very hard for me. And I know they don't really mean bad. They just, and then I want to say to them, well, we can't always tell you everything. That's just not, it's like any other business. You just have to know that we have your best interest at heart.
Well, they've got to,
You know.
they've got to trust us, and
That's why
we've
you're
got to
elected.
build that trust, and that's why we were elected, or I was elected, and they've got to believe we're doing the right thing, and in order for them to believe we're doing the right thing, we have to believe we're doing the right thing, and we try to stay the course. If you're gonna trip, you're
Yeah.
gonna,
Well,
you're
we're
gonna
human.
mess up,
Yeah, we're humans.
and then you got to have to back up and fix it and not mess up again. So it's part of life. We're not perfect people.
We're not perfect, but our intentions are. And that's what everybody needs to remember, that our intentions are perfect. We're trying to build a great city with low taxes and let enough tourism in to pay for it, but still provide what the public here wants.
If you look across the coast, each city from Bay St. Louis to Pascagoula, Moss Point, they all offer something different.
Yeah.
We're more like Bay St. Louis, but
Correct.
they're not as they're what we call entertainment district is not as widespread, but the port, Chevron, Ingalls, Keesler, the casinos, and I think Ocean Springs has got a really good niche, and that's what we're trying to keep. We don't want to be anybody else. We just want to be Ocean Springs,
We don't
and
want to
that's
be
what people like.
commercialized. We're not trying
We're
to.
trying.
Wait, you don't want a Ferris wheel?
No? We want to go next door to Biloxi and ride the Ferris wheel.
Ferris wheel in Biloxi.
Yeah, we'll go ride it over there and be happy that they have that. But
Yeah,
here,
and-
we try to stay natural. That's
and
one
we
of
don't
our
want a
deals.
convention center either,
Right.
contrary to some people's beliefs.
So, no, what we do need, what will help us is a conference center that will only bring in maybe 150 people Monday through Thursday, and will help the downtown merchants because
That's right.
they'll be shopping down there. They'll be eating at the restaurant, and the money that will come from the hotel tax and the conference center and them eating will help us to build what the public wants.
That's right.
And that's the goal. We all really want the same thing. It just somehow, to some of them, it doesn't appear that way, but we really do.
I love it, you guys. All right, so we incorporated this new element to our podcast, which is the question bowl. So Raven and I filled it.
Question mark.
Should we
So
do
it's
I feel like we're at the Chinese restaurant. I'm waiting to see
I
what
still
my...
haven't come up with a clever name for this bowl, but anyways, Raven, do us the honor. I don't know if this question is going to be for one person or for all.
Oh, this is a good one.
Okay.
This is my question.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, this is for the mayor.
Okay.
What's one thing that people think about you that is totally untrue?
Yes.
I think you're talking about some people. Yeah. They think that I'm in this position for myself,
Right.
to profit myself.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's far from the truth. I can make a lot more money in the private sector,
Right.
than I'm making right now. But I got in this because I thought there was a need. I was encouraged to do it, and whoever does this after me, they'll understand that it takes a commitment, and it's not an easy job, especially in Ocean Springs. Not anywhere. No, I think, looking back, I think an elected official, the mayor's job, is probably the hardest thing that you can probably do. It's an education if you once you get in there. So
Most other politicians will say I would not be the mayor of Ocean Springs. It is one of the, and it's because we have such passionate people, and we have a group that doesn't want any change, and then we have groups that want changes, and then we have a lot of groups that just sit back and they just wait to see what we're going to bring them, and most of them are happy. But I tell him sometimes, I'm like, I thank him for doing it, for serving, because I know really it's not as lucrative, because Kenny's very intelligent to what he could be doing. And so I think that that's been a blessing to Ocean Springs, that he wanted to serve.
Well, as you said, he is the right mayor for
He
this
is
time.
right, yeah.
Right.
Well, my brother was mayor, obviously, for 25 years. My other brother was a city clerk in Natchez for 12, 13 years, 14 years. So,
It's
we
in your
used to
blood.
sit around the table and, we talked about Ole Miss sports and politics.
Right.
That's what we talked about. My mom, my dad, my brother. So,
What would you tell Kenny that was first getting into the campaign? Like, if you go back in time and say, Kenny, you're getting ready to face this, what kind of advice would you tell yourself 4 years ago, Kenny?
get out of it.
What are you
Run.
doing? What are you doing?
No, I just, you got to be careful what you say.
Yeah.
And that is, and going back to my brother, they would come out of a meeting with AJ and, say, well, he didn't say anything. I don't know what he's thinking. I said, well, when he figures what he wants to tell you, he will let you know at that point.
Right.
And, and that's the main thing, is just to not say something or do something that will embarrass the city or embarrass myself. And I think I've done a pretty good job of that.
You have, and I hope that in all of the challenges that you faced, you feel just as much support from the people who you've gained in your life in the last 4 years.
And I told Patty this the other day on one of our early morning phone calls. And we're getting beat up right now. There's no question about it. We're under a microscope, and to some people, we can do nothing right.
Right.
But I have random people of all ages come by, and they'll just stop me, and they say, hey, I want you to know you're doing a good job. We like what you're doing. Don't let this stuff drag you down.
Right. Or they'll say, don't listen to the noise.
Yeah. So, that happens on a daily basis,
It's happening at City Hall, too.
And,
We have people telling us, don't listen to the noise.
So,
That's great.
It
that's
is.
positive.
Different than a few months ago from what
Well, it's different. And, we just have to kind of always figure there's 18,000 right now that live here. So maybe 200's not happy, but if everyone else is happy, then we're still
you're doing
doing our
pretty
job.
dang good.
We just
Yeah.
need to get the other 200 happier with us.
Right.
That's all. And we want them to be happy.
All right, let's see. Okay, this is a quick one. Marshall Park or Fort Maurepas? Everybody,
What's your favorite part?
what's your favorite?
Fort Maurepas.
Obviously.
Well, that's a no-win for me, but I'll tell you what, we have engaged with Jose.
But
We
I
are
love Marshall
committed-
Park too. Like he's saying, I love it. It's the old time feel.
We're
It is,
committed
and
to
it's-
to putting money and helping Marshall Park.
Right.
And the reason being is that when you ride into Ocean Springs, that's the gate. That's the gateway right
It
there.
is.
And you see the oak trees, and I want people to see Marshall Park. So we're going to put a lot of focus. We've been working with Melanie and Susan, and we're going to put a lot of focus on that.
So are you saying you like Marshall Park better than Fort Maurepas?
Well, it's part of
Other
that.
than other than Friday nights.
Okay.
Well, I agree. I mean, it's part of downtown.
Yeah, it is.
You know what I'm saying? If you're over here shopping, mom wants to go in this store, dad can go over here and take the kids, and it's just a beautiful little park. I mean, it is. It's part of the beauty of Ocean Springs. What you got now?
That's just for Patty.
Right.
How do you want to spend your time this year? Not including accounting.
Not including work. And work's about all I know how to do.
I know, but
except
you've
for
been
my
getting out
grandchildren.
more. You've been
I've
going
been trying,
to
yeah,
concerts.
going to theater, going to the concerts. The main vacation and I have been doing has been with my grandchildren. I have 8 grandchildren.
Right.
I'm really more than just the clerk, but people don't know
And not a
that.
Patty.
Yeah,
More mama-ing to do.
more mommying to do. Yeah, and I'm hoping I'm going to try to start traveling some with just adults. Some, yeah. I run around with some 30-year-olds some, and yeah,
We're adults.
they're adult. Yeah, they're adults. Someone has to drive them somewhere, you know. But, you know, and I care so much about a lot of the staff, but I think that everybody would agree. And sometimes I worry, but I think everybody knows there's Patty who wants to be friends and have fun, and then there's Patty the clerk.
You are always Patty the clerk.
Oh, I am.
And we're always
I'm
trying
Patty
to.
that wanted to have fun.
Have fun.
We have fun. We always spend time with you. You are fun.
I don't feel like I'm that much fun anymore because I'm so serious all the time.
Well, you know, we understand your passion. We feel just as passionate about our positions.
We have a
but,
lot of fun at City Hall.
But
We
you've
do.
had
We do.
you've
We
had
really do.
quite a few years. You know, like it's your time. It's your time, and you always say that you're retiring at some point, just to threaten us that we'll all do our job the right way. So if your time is so limited, what is the one thing this year that you really want to make sure you spend your time doing?
With the city?
Just in general. You can answer it any way you want.
No, I'm traveling maybe a little bit more while I'm still young enough to get out and travel a little bit more. But what's so funny is I've been there 22 years and I've never hung pictures or nothing in my office.
I know.
Yeah.
There's always that threat.
Staff comes in and they're always going to read to their offices, and I told them I never know how long I'm going to be here. You know, so I keep everything ready. But it's been
And she's got a door right outside.
I know.
it's really been an honor to serve the public. I want to transcend that to city employees always.
Yeah.
That, yeah, they're not your boss per se, and I don't allow people to walk in there and play that card. But it is an honor to serve the public, you know. And it was such an honor to work Katrina. And every storm now, the last storm we did really well. We had everything picked up. I mean, we started the Saturday after the storm, and we finished December 10th. Most cities didn't even start till January. And so, you know, that's a big deal to the public, whether they realize it or not, the way we handle ourselves in a storm. I take a lot of pride in all of that. I love doing the job. I'm just, you know, getting a little older and crankier, so y'all may have to go ahead and put me out. Yeah,
No.
so,
Okay, last question. Who do I ask this to? You must have wrote this question. Raven, what do you want to be when you grow up?
I did not write that question.
Yes, you did. I did not. Maybe this was to Kenny.
Yeah,
That's the Kenny.
what did you want to do when you grew up, Kenny?
Yeah.
I wanted to do accounting.
I wanted to be a Dallas Cowboy cheerleader when I was a kid.
Really?
Yeah, I was about it.
Or I wanted to swim with whales. That's the other one, but I don't swim that well.
I just wanted to be whatever my brother was. I even called myself his name.
Yeah.
People would ask me, what's your name? Shay.
Yeah. Well, where I'm from, the farming community, the son is the one that gets the vehicle, gets the farm, does all that. The daughter of the farmer, because my dad was a farmer, I didn't ever have my own vehicle because I was supposed to be going out with a farmer. So I wasn't supposed to have a car because, you know, back then people picked you up for a date.
Yeah.
And they came and they came in. You know, you had to come in. You remember the days of picking up a girl at the house and the dad looking at you
Oh,
and
yeah.
making sure.
Shotgun laying on the side.
Yeah. That probably,
Good old
that
days.
probably needs to come back in
Well,
some.
I agree.
When I grow up, I want to be a musician.
Really? Do you play an instrument?
Piano.
I would love to have we made our daughters play the piano, and
That's
that was
right.
something they had to do, and I wish my parents would have done that to me. So I just I like music, and I just wish
Well,
I could
you're in
play
luck.
music.
We have music classes here at the Mary C.
Actually, I say when I retire, I'm going to learn how to play the piano. I'm right there with him.
I
just-
love that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great.
I probably won't, but it sounds good.
Okay, so as we're ending, do y'all have any final thoughts, final words that you would like to talk
Words
about?
of inspiration to the community.
Just that we are, I know I'm open to anyone saying anything. It's just when you come across in a negative way as you say it, it's hard for me to put it right where it needs to be to answer you and not be negative. It's the way that things are said sometimes that's offensive. And maybe they don't mean it that way. I'm someone that tries to find the good in everyone.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think if people will just give us a little bit of time, and you know, and watch what we're doing, I think they're going to be very happy with the success that Ocean Springs is going to have.
Well, guys, On a final note, we just want to say thank you for being our bosses and guiding us through these very difficult jobs that we love so much.
Right.
And
Let's put
thanks
that
for
out there.
giving us your time when you don't have it to help with anything that we need. And we're very proud of y'all for everything that you're doing, and we think that you're handling yourself just really well. You're our role models, and we love you, your mom and dad.
Yeah,
And
thank you.
we really do. We love you very much. And we
Thank
want
you.
to see you succeed as much as y'all want to see us succeed.
We got your back.
Mm-hmm.
Right. That's a family.
It is.
We might fight on the inside, but we don't like anybody fighting with us from the outside.
But we'll take it on together, and we'll make sure that it's done in a way that we're all proud of.
Yeah.
So.
Yep.
Okay, Thea. This is it. Episode 2, wrapping up City Culture. I'm Sarah.
I'm Raven.
Thank you for tuning in.